Most affirmations make anxiety worse, not better. Here's why. When your brain is in full panic mode, repeating "I am calm and peaceful" feels like a lie, and your nervous system knows it, and that disconnect actually triggers more stress because now you're fighting reality on top of fighting fear. Think about it this way. If you broke your leg and someone told you to just tell yourself "my leg is fine," you'd laugh at them, right? That's exactly what most affirmation advice asks your anxious brain to do, and it's why so many people try affirmations once, feel stupid, and quit forever. But here's the thing, the affirmations can genuinely rewire anxiety patterns, and there's real neuroscience behind it, but only when you use the right type at the right moment, and most people are getting both of those things completely wrong. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon found that self-affirmation practices reduced problem-solving errors under stress by 50%. That's not a small number, that's basically cutting your anxiety-driven mistakes in half. But the key word is self-affirmation, which is very different from the toxic positivity stuff you see on Pinterest. The brain's threat detection system, your amygdala, fires before your conscious mind even processes what's happening. We're talking milliseconds, so by the time you're anxious enough to need an affirmation, your logical brain is already partially offline, which means standard affirmations hit a wall. So what actually works is something called a bridging affirmation. Instead of jumping from "I'm terrified" straight to "I'm totally fine," you bridge the gap with something your nervous system can actually believe, like "I've handled hard things before and I'm still here." But here's where it gets wild. Your brain doesn't fact-check emotions the same way it fact-checks logic, meaning a statement that's emotionally true lands completely differently than one that's just logically true. And most people write affirmations that are logically hopeful but emotionally hollow. Let me give you a concrete example. "I am confident" hits most anxious brains like a wall because it contradicts current felt experience. "But I'm learning to trust myself more every day" slides right past your brain's BS detector because it's directional. It's humble, and it doesn't demand you lie to yourself. The format that works best is what psychologists call process affirmations. They focus on what you're doing, not what you already are. So instead of "I am brave," you say "I'm choosing courage even when I'm scared," and that small shift changes everything about how your nervous system receives the message. And here's a number that blew my mind. Studies show it takes between 45 and 90 days of consistent affirmation practice before you see measurable changes in automatic thought patterns. Not 21 days like the pop psychology world keeps telling everyone, which explains why most people give up right before it actually starts working. But here's the thing nobody talks about: timing matters more than the words themselves, because your brain is most neuroplastic, most moldable, in the 20 minutes right after you wake up and the 20 minutes right before you sleep. And those two windows are when your affirmations have the most shot at actually sticking. Morning affirmations should be activating and forward-facing, something like "Today I'm choosing to notice when anxiety is trying to protect me, not punish me." Because framing anxiety as protective rather than threatening is one of the fastest cognitive reframes that actually has clinical backing behind it. Nighttime affirmations need to be completely different in tone. They should be slow, grounding, and past tense focused. Something like "Today I showed up even though it was hard" works better at night because your brain is processing the day and consolidating memories. And you want to anchor the moments where you were okay. Here's where it gets wild. Writing your affirmations by hand instead of typing them activates a completely different neural pathway, one that's more connected to emotional processing and long-term memory encoding, which means your handwritten affirmations are literally more likely to become beliefs than the ones you type or just read on your phone. Anxiety specifically responds to something called somatic anchoring, which means pairing your affirmation with a physical sensation dramatically increases its effectiveness. Try pressing your hand over your heart while you say it, because that pressure activates the vagus nerve and starts the parasympathetic response, which is your body's actual calm-down system. Now let's talk about the ones that genuinely work for anxiety specifically. "My anxiety is information, not a verdict" is one of the most clinically grounded affirmations you can use because it shifts your relationship to the feeling without denying the feeling exists, and that non-resistance is the actual goal. Another one, "I don't have to figure everything out right now," This one works specifically because anxiety is almost always future-focused, and this affirmation pulls your nervous system back into the present tense, which is where your calm actually lives, and it's simple enough to use mid-panic. And here's one most people sleep on: uncertainty is uncomfortable, but I can handle discomfort, because at the core of almost every anxiety spiral is an intolerance of not knowing. And training your brain to separate discomfort from danger is one of the foundational moves in cognitive behavioral therapy. But wait, what if affirmations feel embarrassing to you? What if standing in the mirror saying things to yourself feels cringy and performative? That resistance is real, and it's worth understanding because shame about the practice is one of the biggest reasons people don't stick with it long enough to see results. Here's a workaround that removes the cringe: write your affirmations as if you're writing a letter to a friend who's struggling, because your brain responds differently to second and third person. And studies actually show that self-distancing language like "you've got this" or "she's doing her best" reduces emotional reactivity more than first-person statements in high-stress moments. This is one of the most underrated anxiety tools, the 5-4-3-2-1 affirmation method, where you ground yourself sensorially first with 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, and so on. And then once your nervous system is slightly regulated, you drop in your affirmation, because you're giving the words a calmer landing strip to arrive on. Consistency beats intensity every single time with this practice. 5 affirmations every day for 60 days will rewire more than 50 affirmations you do once in a desperate moment. And this is where most people get it backwards, because they only reach for this tool when they're already in crisis instead of building the neural groove during calm periods. Here's something that genuinely surprised me when I learned it: the affirmations that create the most discomfort for you are usually the ones you need the most. Because psychological resistance is basically your brain flagging the belief system that needs the most updating. So if "I am worthy of rest" makes you want to roll your eyes, that's the one. Let's get practical for a second. Your starter stack for anxiety should include 1 grounding affirmation for mornings, 1 self-compassion affirmation for hard moments during the day, and 1 completion affirmation for nights. And if you keep all 3 written somewhere visible, you will actually use them instead of forgetting they exist. But here's where it gets wild: affirmations without action create what some psychologists call positive thinking paralysis, where you feel good about a goal without actually moving toward it. So the most effective affirmations for anxiety are paired with 1 tiny behavioral step, even something as small as taking 3 slow breaths afterward. Something important to acknowledge: if affirmations are not a replacement for therapy, medication when needed, or genuine support, and if your anxiety is significantly impacting your daily life, a tool like this is a complement to professional help, not a substitute, and knowing that difference matters. The reason so many people give up on this is because they're measuring the wrong thing. They expect to feel immediately calmer after saying affirmations, but the real metric is whether your baseline thoughts are slowly shifting over weeks, which is quieter, subtler, and way harder to notice unless you're journaling alongside the practice. One last layer that changes everything: your tone of voice when you say your affirmations matters neurologically, because a slow, warm, lower vocal tone activates different parts of your nervous system than a rushed, flat delivery. So saying your affirmations the way you'd speak to someone you genuinely love is not just poetic advice, it's physiologically different. Here's your real takeaway in 3 parts. First, ditch affirmations that feel like lies and replace them with bridging statements your nervous system can believe. Second, time your practice to the neuroplastic windows of morning and night and use somatic anchoring to make them land deeper. Third, consistency over 45 to 90 days is the actual game, not intensity in one desperate session. If you've tried affirmations before, drop in the comments: what's one you tried that felt completely fake, and what did you switch it to instead? The first thing to understand about how to use affirmations to calm anxiety is that the surface explanation is usually too simple. The real leverage is in the small repeatable behavior underneath it, because that is what survives after motivation drops.